Mario. Two Binder brothers will start a Moto GP race together for the first time. Of course, Brad Binder back for another season with the Red Bull KTM factory racing team, but Darren Binder forming RNF squad. Pretty solid, you've got to say, a pre-season campaign from the South African Lewis. He didn't jump off the bike as many people thought he would do. He gained a lot of experience. Of course, he's jumping off the 10-metre board going into this field. Probably, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that this MotoGP field is probably the strongest we've ever had. We're up to 24 riders this year. There are 14 Grand Prix world champions. 23 of these guys, including Darren Binder himself, have won at least one Grand Prix. Well, it's a perfect time to go down, speak to him. I'm sure he's a little bit nervous ahead of what's going to be probably the biggest weekend of his Grand Prix career, but we always love to hear the thoughts of Darren Binder. He's such a character, and he's going to be a welcome addition to this MotoGP grid in 2022. Take it away, Simon.
Yeah, I agree with you. Everything you said there, Matt. Hey, Darren, you've done the few days, testing on the bike, and now it all really happens. I imagine there's some butterflies in there.
So far, so good. I mean, I'm pretty relaxed at the moment, but yeah, I think we'll see on Sunday evening when we roll out for the race. I think that's going to be when the butterflies really set in, but I'm so excited. I can't wait to kick off my first official weekend, and starting with FP1 tomorrow, and just take it as it comes. I'm really keen to get this first race under my belt to see where I'm at, and then just chip away from there.
Darren, there's a lot of people, including me, watching your progress through the testing, and you didn't get a lot, considering you're going into the first race, but I watched, I think it was on day 2 of the test at Sepang, and saw that you were a half second slower than Dobby, and I thought that is pretty damn good, on the 1-year-old bike, to be that close in the beginning. I'm wondering, from your point of view, how do you see the testing? Were you happy with it overall and with your progress?
Yeah, I mean, overall I'm happy. I mean, at the end of the day, quite a few times I had to remind myself that I came from Moto 3 and that it's been a really big step. So I mean, to finish 1.7 behind the fastest guy in the world, I mean, it's really not that far. Although I'm last, it's really not that far. So, yeah, just got to keep chipping away. I mean, I think once I'm within a second, I'll be really happy. I feel like then you're really quite close. But overall, I mean, I took the days slowly but surely, and made progress every day, and didn't do anything crazy. So yeah, I'm really happy with how things went, and I can't wait to see how this first weekend goes.
I know we need you for a photo in a moment, but last question, what, just for the listeners, I mean, you're the only one to do it this year. People have been saying about the massive step from Moto 3 to Moto 2, the power and the weight, but Moto 3 to Moto GP. Please give the listeners an idea quickly what it was like.
Yeah, it's been insane. The biggest thing for me to adapt to was the power. I mean, the brakes are also definitely something to adapt to. They are super strong, but the power was definitely the biggest thing for me. Like, I would just start getting used to it at like the end of the second day, go to sleep, wake up and start at zero again. Every morning I felt like the power really I had to catch up to. I was always behind, one step behind the power. So that was definitely the most difficult thing, but yeah, also learning all the electronics and stuff has played a big part of it, but I'm still in that process, but at least I'm getting used to the speed right now.
Darren, I better let you go and get your photo done. Thank you, as always, for talking to us.
Thank you, guys. Cheers.
Yeah, thanks to Darren Binder. What a proud, special moment for the Binder family. There is older brother Brad, of course, ahead of his third season in the MotoGP World Championship. I can't believe I actually said there that Darren Binder was going to be nervous at this stage of the weekend. There is not a more laid-back guy in the world, let alone this paddock, than Darren Binder, Lewis.
No, if he'd be any further laid back, he would literally be on the floor. He's a phenomenally relaxed young man, and he's got belief in his own ability, which is what you need at this level. And Razlan Razali was speaking when the news was broken that Darren Binder was being signed for that team, that he likes to do something different. He likes to put some faith in a younger talent, and of course he did that to great success with Fabio Quartararo back in 2019. He was signed, of course he'd achieved a little bit further up the ladder than Darren Binder had. Of course, he'd won a Moto 2 Grand Prix, but it did come a little bit from left field, that signing. And Darren Binder's another one who perhaps didn't jump off the page last year as a rider who was a MotoGP talent in waiting, but boy is he proven himself as to, in Moto3. He's shown his ability. He was probably in Moto3 longer than he should have been or needed to be, given how tall he was on that bike in the end. So perhaps his performances in the recent time in Moto3 don't quite do him justice, given how tall he was in that class. But he's going to do a cracking job, I think. As long as he learns and he does it slowly, he doesn't try and do too much too soon, I think he'll be absolutely fine. But who is likely to be competing at the very front of the grid in 2022? Ducati, of course, go in as the reigning constructors and teams champions, and a big part of that was Jack Miller. He's downstairs with Simon.
He is. He's playing a couple of jokes at the moment, but he's with us. Jack, you're one of the more, believe it or not, it sounds strange to say that, but more experienced guys now. All these young boys coming in. I want to know how winter testing went for you and how you turn up to Qatar feeling.
Yeah, veteran at the ripe old age of 27, so no, it feels good. But no, testing was good. It was nice to. The off-season was good, just nice to go home and sort of switch off for a bit. And no, testing was a lot of fun. We were busy, we had a lot of stuff to get through, but it feels good, everything sort of feels normal again. Being back here this time of year with the testing being in other countries and stuff like that, so not being locked in a bubble, it's been fantastic. And no, really looking forward to getting the season underway. I feel good coming in, as you said, I am getting on now in terms of my experience in Moto GP, and I feel it, it feels just, you kind of get used to these things, and also the way to deal, let's say, with the pressure coming into the season, I feel pretty good. So, it's all well and good saying that now, but we'll have to see what we can do come Sunday.
Jack, I've been saying to anyone that'll listen that you can't read much into the times of the tests, because it depends on who put the soft one in. Was the soft tyre going to even come to the race? And also that there's a lot of weight on the factory riders for each manufacturer, the schedule they had to run through. So it's very hard to see clearly where everybody genuinely is, not just on the fastest lap time. I'm curious, where do you feel you are?
I feel good. As you said, we weren't trying for lap times at the test. I was pretty busy testing with what we had, and we managed. I had a fall in the race sim, the first one that got going of the year, but on the last day there in Mandalika, but managed to get back out on the other bike and put 20 solid laps together before we had another little issue with the bike. But no, I felt good, really good, and it feels nice when you can you get to this age where you don't feel like you need to prove anything and that sort of thing. You can just sort of understand what it is, do your work, do your job, try and get as well prepared as what we can. So, testing's testing, it's always fantastic. Last year I was king of testing, but that didn't really work out when the season got underway. So I'll try to take a different approach this year, and we'll see how it goes.
Hey, last one for you is looking at, you've said it really about preparing, and it's not all about how fast it's in testing. And a lot of people, including Ducati and me, believe that you have the talent to step up to being one of those consistent, I always call them those consistent four guys that are always there, that end up fighting for the championship. And Ducati told me they firmly believe that you've got the talent and drive to do it. I want to know your opinion. Do you think you can step up this one and fight in that four this year?
I'd definitely like to. As I said, so I'm trying to come in with a different mentality, a different sort of approach to my racing, and having already a year under my belt in the factory team and so on, it feels good. So, anything's possible. We'll just, as I said, just try and chip it away. You certainly can't win the championship here in Qatar, but you can definitely lose it or make it hard for yourself. So we'll just try to, start from here, build a solid foundation. And like you say, just keep ticking it away. We're, hopefully, as we started the interview out, hopefully my age can come into play and I'll be able to use my brain a little bit more often.
Okay. On a lighter note, I know I said that was the last question, but I thought something I should let the listeners know. I hope you don't mind. I saw you arrive here in Qatar with a lovely lady on your arm, and I've never seen Jack Miller with a lovely lady walking around next to him. Can you tell us about this lovely lady I saw?
Yeah, no, found someone who can put up with me for a little bit, so hopefully she'll stick around for a bit longer. No.
Jack, thanks and good luck, buddy.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, cheers, Simon. Thanks to Jack Miller, as always. A happy rider is a fast rider, so we expect big things from Jack Miller, of course. Tough task for him to hold on to that prized factory Ducati seat. There you go, then. 12 teams will line up in this MotoGP World Championship this year. The fastest bikes on the planet, ridden by the fastest men as well. We welcome, of course, the Gresini Racing MotoGP team. They're on Ducatis with the rookie Fabio Di Gianantonio and the very impressive in winter testing Enea Bastianini. And, of course, Mooney VR46 Racing team. They're fielding Ducatis as well. The With You Yamaha RNF team, in addition to the grid as well, after the demise of the Petronas Yamaha SRT team. But there's so much pre-season talk. Every rider that we've seen on screen so far, you look at him, Lewis, and go, oh, well, he can win a race. He can definitely be on the podium. It's so tough to call, but there just seems to be this kind of feeling, this aura around Marc Marquez, that we know that this radically new Honda seems to have eradicated a lot of their problems with rear grip. Marquez and Polispargo look very, very strong in Mandalika. Polispargo, of course, was fastest man in that Indonesia test. But there's this feeling from the people I'm talking to in the paddock, Lewis, that Marquez is here to make up for lost time. These two injury-ravaged seasons, 2020 and 2021. He's back to full fitness. Honda look like they're back in the game, and that's going to be a very potent combination. Most people are actually now thinking that Marquez might just be a marginal pre-season favourite for this title.
Yeah, I mean, the big question, I suppose, is will Marc Marquez just pick up where he left off in 2019, where he was perhaps the last time he was fully fit? I suppose the last time he was fully fit was in the Grand Prix at Jerez at the start of 2020, where he was tearing his way through the field. He does have that glint in his eye, doesn't he? We saw him when he spoke at Honda's Media Day back in January, when it was confirmed that he would be heading to Sepang, and he had that air about him. He seemed very, very confident, very, very relaxed, and very, very relieved, I suppose. There were feelings and fears when he suffered that injury, which ruled him out of the final two races of last season. He had the double vision once again, that this could potentially be a career-threatening injury. We just didn't know. We had to wait, as Mark did, for the situation to settle down again and for his vision to return to normal. Because he pointed out, this isn't like any kind of injury that you can just ride through, that you can just grit your teeth and get through it. If you can't see properly, you can't see properly. And until Marc Marquez could, he wasn't getting on a motorcycle again. So it's a great relief for him. Perhaps he feels a little bit of a weight off his shoulders, that he can go and compete again. It's the first time in a number of years that Marc Marquez enters a season anything approaching fully fit. He's had injury problems across the last 3 or 4 off seasons. So I think Marc Marquez is just relieved and relaxed to be coming into a season something approaching full fitness. Well, we can hear from him now and hear just what kind of feeling Marc Marquez has ahead of this season as he looks to regain the MotoGP World title that he last won in 2019. Marc Marquez is speaking to Simon.
He is, Mark. I've got to say, the testing, when you looked behind the fastest lap times, what you're really doing on race pace, you looked damn good. I'm wondering how you felt.
Yeah, of course I feel much better than Indonesia test. This is something important. Malaysia, Indonesia, I suffer a lot about physical condition. Already Indonesian test was better, so I feel a lot a big step after Indonesia test. I was 3 days destroyed, but then I feel a big step on my physical condition, so this is important. And I arrive here in acceptable way, in acceptable performance, acceptable conditions. Then the performance we will see during the weekend. It's a circuit that is not one of my best circuits, but we will try to start in a good way.
Mark, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Thanks to Marc Marquez. It's great to have him back. We want Marquez to be flying in all seasons. I'm going to make myself feel really old now. This is Marquez's 10th season in the MotoGP World Championship, and what a decade it has been. Simon, you've got some additional thoughts?
Yeah, just in case the listeners wanted to know why I didn't hold him there, he answered my second question, which was the physical condition, and I've got to say I feel sorry for him, because since he's walked out here, I've been watching, trying to catch him, and he's had to do interview after interview after interview, and I just thought, I got to give the guy a break, just ask him one thing, leave him to it. So I'll try and catch someone now who is bothered a little bit less by us press guys.
Yeah, he's a popular figure, isn't he, in this paddock, with good reason. Marc Marquez, without question, he's going to be a big threat for the championship this year. When you look at those main contenders, you don't really have to look too far further than, well, our current world champion Fabio Quartararo, obviously Pecco Bagnaia, who had an incredible breakthrough season on the factory Ducati. And what about this man? Bagnaia and both Marc Marquez believe that this young man, Jorge Martin, could be a serious title contender in 2022. Well, part of the learning curve, a big learning curve ahead for rookie Marco Bezzecchi. Actually caught the eye with some impressive lap times in both Sepang and in Mandalika. I'm delighted to say the new Mooney VR46 Racing Team rider is with Simon down in pit lane.
He is. Marco, I know there's a very long way to go, a lot of circuits to try this new machine out and learn, but I was super impressed with your first tests on the bike, you know, at Malaysia and Indonesia, and even the race run simulation you did is like first time was, from my point of view, very impressive. How did you feel on the bike?
Yeah, it was a nice pre-season testing for me. I had a very good feeling overall, Malaysia and Indonesia, and especially I enjoy a lot riding. I was like a kid with his favorite toy, so for me it was a very special moment. And now being here in Qatar, I still have a lot to learn, especially for the race distance, because I tried only once, like you said. But can't complain, and really looking forward to go and to enjoy a lot.
Thank you, Marco.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks to Marco Bezzecchi. Exciting times for him. Dream come true moment for all the rookies to be lining up, particularly against this man, the owner of that motorcycle, number 93, Marc Marquez. This is a radically overhauled RC213V, the biggest change in concept, Honda bosses say, in the entire modern four-stroke Moto GP era, which of course it's its 20th anniversary this year. Honda, Lewis, were never going to take these last couple of years lying down. They were always going to retaliate, and it looks like this new RC213V, when you look at Pol Espargaro, quickest in Mandalika, Marc Marquez looking really, really strong in terms of his race pace. He didn't go for time attacks, and Nakagami and Alex Marquez also looking pretty happy. It looks like the Honda engineers have done an incredible job to make that bike crucially more user-friendly.
Absolutely. The big thing that the riders spoke about last season was a lack of rear grip. They feel they've got that now, and Pol Espargaro was beaming throughout the pre-season with the performance of that new motorcycle. As you can see, it is the most visibly different motorcycle on the grid. There is so much that is different about it, and Honda want to prove that it isn't just Marc Marquez, that they can be competitive with and without him. Of course, they'll hope to have him in the ranks throughout this season. He'll have plenty of competition though, will Marc Marquez, if he does want to add a 9th world title, particularly from the Ducati family and not just the factory teams. Jorge Martin heading into his second MotoGP season. Of course, he took pole position here at the second of our Losail races last season and went on to finish on the podium. He'll be looking to join the podium on a much more frequent basis, and who knows, perhaps even an outside shot at the title. How's Jorge feeling ahead of the opening race of the season? Simon's with him.
Yes, I am. Jorge, you stormed onto the scene last year, made a massive impression, went through some rough times first year on the MotoGP bike. I want to know how you feel now, 12 months on, coming in as no longer a rookie.
Yeah, feeling great, feeling much more faster, much more experienced also. This is really important. And yeah, stronger than last year in general. I feel confident for the season. I feel in test. We were missing a bit of riding because we had some issues with different electronics and with some engines, but finally back on track, ready for everything. I feel great and really looking forward.
Can you tell me what the big difference is from last year as a rookie till now? What is the where does the confidence come from?
Well, I think, confidence comes from results, for sure. That's the first thing. And then about the performance, I think we improve a lot in entry and also cornering. So I think we can do a great season. Even in the tracks where we struggle a bit, we will be stronger. And yeah, also about the base of the bike, I'm feeling great, I'm feeling better. And yeah, let's see, everybody improves always, but I think I am more consistent and I can fight for more races.
Jorge, thank you for your time. Good luck.
Thank you, Simon.
Yeah, thanks to Jorge Martin, thanks to Simon Crowfar, without any question. If he's able to build on that momentum gain throughout an excellent 2021, and crucially, if he can stay fit, sometimes Jorge Martin doesn't bounce particularly well, does he? A bit injury prone throughout his career, but if he's fit and happy on that new GP 2022, well, watch out, because he will be a big threat. And what about that young man there? Enea Bastianini, fastest with a record-breaking 1:58.131 in the opening test in Sepang. Looked strong again inside the top 10 in the Mandalika test on the proven race-winning GP21. A lot of people think Bastianini can emerge as a regular race-winning threat. One man who certainly will, without any question, on a very improved Suzuki GSX-RR throughout the winter, is our 2020 MotoGP World Champion. He badly wants that title back. Let's hear the pre-season thoughts of Joan Mir with Simon.
Yes, he is. Joan, as you know, I love watching all the riders closely, and the last 2 years especially, every time you've got on the bike, almost every time, you've been extremely impressive. You know, all your decisions, how you ride, awesome. And it's why you always fight, if not for the title last year, close, always there. And your bike has improved, it looks like to me from the outside. Since last year, it looks like a little bit more competitive, and I can imagine what's going through your mind. Is this another year to fight for the title?
Yes, of course. Well, every year we got that determination, we got that constancy, but we didn't get the speed. So I think that this year, with a little bit more of help from Suzuki and yeah, with a better bike, I think that we are able to fight closer. And if we keep our determination and different stuff and different things, I think that we can fight again for the title.
The bike has always been, the combination of you and the bike always been good on tyres, you know. Also Alex, of keeping the tyres going, but in the race, it's often been a nightmare in the fight, how you have to overuse the front. You know, occasionally bump into riders, and I try to explain to people it's because it's the only chance you have to get past is to force your way through, you know. And I want to know, with that little bit of extra speed, is it going to take, you're hoping, a bit of pressure off that front tyre and having to take the risk that you've had to do in the last 12 months?
I hope. The truth is that, okay, we improved, but also the others improved. Here in Qatar will be really important, the first race, is to understand our real potential of the bike. This will be the key. As you said, last year we always, to overtake, I was really on the limit, and I had to do some risky maneuvers, sometimes with contact. That is not my style, you know. But well, I think that we can do a good season.
I know you can. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. Thanks to Joan Mir. Always love listening to him, and just like Simon, absolutely love watching that guy ride. The way he goes about his business is a real example to some of the younger guys coming through. He's got that never give up attitude. Reunited, of course, there, the past and present riders for crew chief Alberto Girabiola, who was with Andrea Dovizioso the last 2 times Andrea was here, of course, on the factory Ducati. He was a race winner in fairly boring encounters against Marc Marquez. 2 of the closest MotoGP finishes we've ever seen. We'll have more of that on Sunday night, please, gentlemen. But Enea Bastianini, we just talked about him briefly, Lewis. A few people stood to attention after that eye-catching display in Sepang. He's on that proven GP21. Let's just talk or look quickly at the world champion. We haven't seen too much of him, looking relatively relaxed, taking some liquid on board before he comes out for this grid shot. There is the motorcycle that stands on top of the World Championship right now coming into 2022. There's been a few doubts about how the Yamaha has developed in the winter, a bit of criticism coming the way from Fabio Quartararo, and he knows that armada of Ducatis, 8 Ducatis, and Bastianini on that proven GP21. He's going to be there, isn't he, Lewis? He's going to be a dark horse for that top 5 every week, no question.
Absolutely. First of all, on Fabio Quartararo, I spoke to him yesterday at the pre-event when we visited the World Cup final stadium coming up this year. he seemed very relaxed. He was talking about how he feels he's the best he's ever been, crucially, in Moto GP. And I think that's the way Fabio Quartararo is going to have to approach this season. He's already spoken in pre-season. I think he's getting fed up of talking about the perceived or the relative lack of top speed that Yamaha has. And he's going to have to ride around it. He's going to have to do his own job and try and perform at his own maximum and try and ride around that problem. He's going to have plenty of competition from all 5 other factories, because of course Aprilia look as if they're well and truly in the game this season. Aleix Espargaro on screen there. Now you can see his motorcycle. Now let's hear from him. Simon's talking to it.
Yes, Aleix, I was so impressed to see how much work Aprilia had done when I first saw your bike sitting in the garage in Malaysia. And I was genuinely worried that with the freeze off, everyone would take a big step forward and maybe you would lose that competitive edge you had last year. Aprilia had built up with your hard work, but it looks from the outside that you haven't. You've taken the step forward the others have. From your side, do you feel this is true, or how did the testing go?
Yeah, I fully agree with you. Actually, I was worried as you. But I think that we really, obviously it was clear that we really used the advantage of freezing engines and freezing concessions last year, and this year we keep working the same. The feeling that I have is that the job we did on these last 2 years is the job that every manufacturer did every single season in 6 months, you know. So we just been a bit slow, but we are getting there. We are improving. That's clear. We are getting closer. Again, the advantage we had 2 years ago with the freezing concessions obviously was clear, but we take profit of it, and now looks like the Aprilia is closer to the best bikes of the grid.
And you think this genuinely could be the year that you even improve your best ever results for you and the Aprilia?
I hope. I mean, the bike is clearly better than last year one. Last year I managed to finish 8th in the championship with 130 points. So the next step will be try to achieve close to 200 points, and this means top 6, top 5. So this have to be the goal. It's going to be very difficult. You know, the level this year is fucking insane. The bikes, the teams, the riders is super high. You can finish very easy 14, 12 in one race. So the challenge is huge, but we're here to compete, so I'm ready.
Aleix, thank you and good luck.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, thanks for Aleix Espargaro. Just a quick apology for his choice of phrase there, but he's right. He's describing what will be an incredibly tight and close 2022 MotoGP World Championship. Aprilia look like they've got the best RSGP they've ever had, and this obviously looks like being Aprilia's strongest ever lineup. Aleix Espargaro partnered by Maverick Vinales, seeking redemption in many respects after a horrendous year with Yamaha, of course, split from the team halfway through last season. Some solid performances when he jumped on the Aprilia towards the back end of last year, but now time to take the next step. Pecco Bagnaia and Luca Marini's having a close look at the world champion's motorcycle there. He's kept a low profile so far, hasn't he, the Monster Energy Yamaha world champ, Fabio Quartararo, but he is coming to the grid.
He won't be keeping a low profile when you see the colour of his hair, by the way, if you get a glimpse of that underneath his baseball cap. He's gone for the bleach blonde look that served him so well when he won here last year, Fabio Quartararo, so keep an eye out for that when he appears on the grid. And we need to, I think, remember this when we talk about Fabio Quartararo and Yamaha's pre-season, of course. A lot of talk has been that Yamaha have been in something approaching a crisis with Quartararo and the team not getting the improvement in power they necessarily wanted going into 2022. But we can't remember, we shouldn't forget, that that's the motorcycle and the rider that won the World Championship last season and won it with something to spare too. It wasn't as if Fabio Quartararo was scrambling around in Valencia trying to get that championship won. He'd already won it. And although he did struggle representative to the Ducatis in those final 2 races of the season, they were something resembling dead rubbers. So perhaps whether there was something on the line, Fabio Quartararo might have been able to get a little bit more out of that Yamaha. And it is a motorcycle that excels here. We think of the Losail International Circuit as a circuit that really does suit the Ducatis with their speed down the main straight. But Yamaha have won more Grand Prix here than any other factory put together. They've won 10 MotoGP races around here, including both last year. Maverick Vinales taking the opening victory and Fabio Quartararo taking the second in pretty impressive circumstances too, having dropped all the way down to 10th early on in the Grand Prix and fighting his way through. So write Fabio Quartararo and Yamaha off at your peril, because although they haven't had the pre-season they would have wanted, he is still the defending world champion, and he's a world champion for a reason.
Well, it's Vive la France. Great shot there, Lorenzo Fallon from the 658 squad order, of course, a Moto3 team, and of course our two top men from France in the MotoGP World Championship, Fabio Quartararo and Johan Zarco, just posing for some photos with French Grand Prix promoter Claude Michy. Good to see Claude in the paddock, of course, prepping for what will it be, round 7, I believe, the French Grand Prix. Date for your diary, May the 15th. Everybody just having those sort of little wanders around everybody else's motorcycle. This is the closest that you can get to checking out the competition, of course, that of seeing it out on circuit. Fabio Quartararo there, as you'd expect, being quickly mobbed by the TV cameras. That's Greek TV grabbing a word with the reigning world champion. His defence starts here. Make a note for your diaries. 6 p.m. local time on Sunday night is when the 2022 MotoGP World Championship campaign will get underway. The longest in history, 21 Grand Prix. And there is a man who's done so much to turn this great championship into an even greater championship in many respects. Carmelo Espeleta, the long-serving Dorna Chief Executive Officer, who's done, as we said, a remarkable job in making this, for so many people, we're biased of course, the greatest motorsport show on earth, and loving this new group photo for the MotoGP class, this gathering of the grid. We get to see all the new liveries close up, all the new motorcycles, and the 24 men, the 24 fastest riders in the world who will slug it out this year for motorcycle racing's biggest prize, the MotoGP world title.
Absolutely, and I mean, this was an innovation that was brought in due to COVID, wasn't it, back at the start of 2020, with the riders socially distanced on the grid. But it certainly works, doesn't it? And in many ways, you can expect the action on Sunday night, once the sun sets here in Qatar, to be just as close. This circuit very rarely fails to deliver in terms of exciting MotoGP racing. 2 of the top 5 closest top 15s in history in the MotoGP World Championship are here and were last year, including the closest of all. Less than 9 seconds, 8.9 seconds covered the top 15 in the Doha Grand Prix last year. Qatar delivers that kind of racing, and the field looks closer than ever, and we expect a similar kind of race in 3 nights' time.
I just love this shot here of Luca Marini, Jack Miller and Johan Zarco. They've just fixated on the front of that Repsol Honda, which is in the ownership this year of Marc Marquez. They're all trying to figure out how come this new Honda looks like it could be a world beater again. Marc Marquez, of course, let's not forget, despite all of his physical problems last year, and despite the obvious problems that the Honda had last year, he was still able to win 3 Grand Prix. Yes, 2 on his beloved Saxon Ring and in Austin, but you can see there, Miller, Marini and Zarco, they know how good Marc Marquez is, make no question, and they know if that Honda has improved, the guy will be hard to beat this year. Let's pop back down quickly then to Simon Crafar, a man who knows all about how great Joan Mir is, and he knows about how significant the steps forward Suzuki have made throughout winter testing. We can hear from Mir's crew chief, Frankie Carcetti, down with Simon now.
Yeah, well, the riders are out on the front straight getting a photo in. Frankie, I'd love to hear from you. I know you can't tell us anything that'll get you in trouble, but I'd love your general feeling of where you are now going into the season compared to where you were 12 months ago. Is Suzuki closer, and is your rider Joan Mir? He's always doing right, you know, for getting the right points and fighting for the championship, but it feels like he's closer, at least from the outside.
Yeah, I think COVID seriously hit us last year. I mean, the factory closed down. We were in a lot of difficulty, especially at the start of the year. And then, as you saw at the end of the year, we came on really strong, and we fixed, I hope, a few of the weaker points.
You mean for this season in the winter, you fixed a few of the weaker points, or you mean at the end of last year?
Yeah, both, a bit of both. I think one of the crucial points was obviously qualifying. You know, you can't qualify 4th, 5th row, and then we did a front row and a second row, so there was obvious improvements, and I think we even topped FP3 a few times, which is like a mini qualifying. So the signs there are good. And then in the winter, because of this, we almost were able to make a double effort of catching up. So there was without mentioning any specific areas, obviously the engine is one that's quite been spoken about, well spoken about. But a little bit everywhere, a bit of aero, the device, you know, now we've got the device working and we were able to make quite big steps. And all in all, it's been good. I think the only thing was we just had again, COVID struck us in Mandalika, and we basically, it was just almost impossible day 2. And then day 3 we didn't even go out. Joanne wasn't well, and it was quite easy to just say, yeah, let's wrap up there. But no, quietly, we're happy.
Great to hear from you, Frankie, and I'm sure all the fans want to join me in wishing you and Joanne best of luck this year.
Thanks very much, mate.
Yeah, thanks to Simon Crowfar, thanks to Frankie Carchedi, former world champion, now of course Joan Mir's crew chief. It did seem like Suzuki made big strides forward with their aero, with their ride height device, with their engine in particular, of course, with the engine development freeze lifted for 2022. Most factories, not sure about Yamaha, listening to some of the comments of Fabio Quartararo, seem to have made a step forward in terms of horsepower and top speed performance. Of course, this Qatar venue will be a great test of top speed. Johann Zarco last year set a new MotoGP top speed record, which was matched by Brad Binder's KTM over in Mugello. But here you go then, folks. This is what it's all about. The big boys are back in town. 24 riders. It's the elite of the elite. 14 Grand Prix world champions. A new record for the full-time MotoGP entry list on the opening Grand Prix weekend. 24 Grand Prix world championships between them. 12 on the full-time MotoGP entry list have already won Premier Class races. 23 of these young men, of the 24 you're looking at right now, who'll do battle in the longest ever MotoGP World Championship, have already won one Grand Prix. We welcome 5 rookies: Darren Binder, Fabio Di Gianantonio, Remy Gardner, the reigning Moto2 World Champion, Ralph Fernandez, big expectations for him as well, and Marco Bezzecchi. Marc Marquez is back. Fabio Quartararo is the reigning World Champion. But this is showtime here tomorrow at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. We can't wait. I'm sure you at home can't wait. Lewis, the 2022 FIM MotoGP World Championship looks like it's all set to be the best we've ever had in history.
Absolutely. There is no slow coaches on this grid, are there? There are 24 elite riders, as you mentioned, who've all got incredible pedigree, incredible CVs. Aleix Espargaro there looking to complete the set. He's the only rider on this grid without a Grand Prix win, and he's shown signs in pre-season testing that Aprilia can perhaps carry him to one this season. He's got a very good record around here too, so keep an eye on him throughout the weekend. We've got the established names, but we've also got riders who are looking to join that elite group, the likes of Enea Bastianini, who's been very quick through pre-season testing, Luca Marini too, who has a 2022 Ducati at his disposal, and as you mentioned, the rookies all look as if they're going to make an impression, 2 of whom really set a whole new standard in Moto2 last year. Remy Gardner and Ralph Fernandez at the back of the picture on the Tech 3 KTMs utterly dominated the intermediate class last season and set each other up to hit brand new heights. Ralph Fernandez setting the kind of numbers in Moto2 as rookie that only Marc Marquez has really done before him. So he is a serious competitor in this class as well, as is Fabio Di Gianantonio. Had a little bit of a tricky pre-season. He was ill back at Sepang, but he did come back to perform very well indeed across both pre-season tests. And Darren Binder, this is where it all becomes real for him as he moves up from Moto3 to MotoGP. For all 5 of the rookies, as they join their fellow competitors on the Premier Class grid this season, it all feels very real. And tomorrow, just in the early afternoon here in Qatar, of course, because we race from afternoon into the evening as we go through all 3 days of this Grand Prix weekend. Tomorrow afternoon, the first track action of this MotoGP season, where the questions that we've been asking since November last year begin to be answered.
Already, less than 24 hours before free practice gets underway tomorrow afternoon here at the Losail International Circuit in Qatar. You can feel that special sense of anticipation building in the air. It's the unique atmosphere, of course, here, the unique selling point of the floodlit night race. We've been coming to Qatar since 2004. Where have those 18 years gone? Without any question, though, this is the strongest field we're looking at. Darren Binder there, he's made that ginormous leap up from Moto3 to MotoGP. If he needs inspiration, well, Jack Miller has enjoyed a very successful Premier Class career, having made the same leap himself back in 2015. But that is the man who they're all chasing, Fabio Quartararo, the the 22-year-old from Nice, a 9 times Grand Prix winner, 8 in the Premier class. Although we have to say it wasn't a strong finish to 2021. No win in 6 since the British Grand Prix at Silverstone, but it is his name. He's got the target on his back, trying to defend the #1 plate. Can he do it? Well, that's one of the several big questions going into this hugely hyped and hugely anticipated 2022 MotoGP World Championship. The time for talking is soon to stop. Actions speak louder than words, and we are set for action in 2022. Marc Marquez, can he reclaim the crown that he last won? Seems like a long time ago now, doesn't it? Back in 2019, where all but one Grand Prix this man finished inside the top 2. He's desperate to make up for lost time, as we said, an injury ravaged last couple of years. Jack Miller, he always looks super relaxed. There's plenty at stake for the Australian. Of course, Pecco Bagnaia, we should remind you, he has just signed up a new 2-year factory Ducati contract. He's on board the Ducati Lenovo team bike for 2023 and 2024, and there's a lot of hungry young riders who want Jack Miller's seat next season and beyond. So these are uncertain times we live in for so many people, and while in the context of what's going on in the world, MotoGP might seem insignificant, sport has a unique way of uniting people and offering a bit of escapism. We certainly hope the spectacular show MotoGP will undoubtedly provide in 2022 will bring that little bit of light into our living rooms for 21 weekends over the next 8 months. We race together in MotoGP. We race for diversity and inclusion in MotoGP, and we join the sporting world in saying, MotoGP, we race for peace. We are united for peace. So there are your 24 men then who will line up for the big season opener here in Qatar on a Sunday night. Plenty to look forward to in 2022, of course. In just a couple of weeks' time, the field will assemble at the Mandalika International Street Circuit in Indonesia. Our first visit to Indonesia in 25 long years. Can't wait for that one, Lewis. Of course, plan and return as well to Finland. We so hope that we can return to our flyaway races. We know fans in Thailand, in Japan, in Malaysia and Australia, they're desperate to see their heroes in person. We are desperate to get back to some semblance of normality. We love racing in front of all you guys. We sincerely hope that we are going to get a full scheduled 20-round World Championship this year.
Absolutely, it's looking that way. It's, you know, there are so many places that we've been missing over the course of this last 2 and a bit years of MotoGP. So many great circuits that we're looking forward to visiting, seeing MotoGP around the likes of Phillip Island once again, to Motegi, of course, who we've not been in recent years. Of course, Buriram came onto the MotoGP calendar with such a great bang back in 2018 with that thrilling battle between Marc Marquez and Andrea Dovizioso. It's got every ingredient, hasn't it, for a thrilling MotoGP season, and we're just hours away from the first action getting underway.
Yeah, Pecco Bagnaia just talking to Spanish TV, DAZN. Let's go down and hear from Simon Cravo, who's got one of the 5 rookies with him, one of the hottest prospects in Grand Prix motorcycle racing, a sensational maiden season in Moto2 last year. No wonder he was keen and quick to get up to MotoGP. Big expectations for Raul Fernandez at Tech 3 KTM. I'm delighted to say he's down in pit lane with Simon.
He is. Raul, I really enjoy catching up with the rookies because they always come in and change our sport. I want to know your first impressions of the MotoGP bike and how the winter testing went for you.
Yeah, for me it was good, the winter test. But anyway, I need to work race by race. I don't have one goal for this season. It's try to learn for the future, and this is the principal goal now. I don't want to think too much about the result, about the position, about the time. I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy my first MotoGP season, and this is the principal goal now.
Raul, I imagine there's a lot to learn about getting these machines and tyres to the end of the race, you know, on those long distances. Can you give us an idea what you are learning about the big machine compared to Moto 2?
Yeah, but it's difficult because never I did a one long run and it's difficult. But maybe after the weekend I can say the difference. Now I cannot say nothing.
Okay, and I noticed, you just for the listeners, you banged your head and didn't ride, I imagine, on the day you were going to do it. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So we look forward to see what you can do this weekend. We look forward to see what you can do this weekend, and best of luck.
Yeah, thank you. But I don't know the position. I will work.
No, I don't expect you to know.
Yeah. You don't. How you say?
I don't expect you to know. I'm just saying we look forward to see what you can achieve this weekend. And best of luck. Best of luck learning in this new class.
No, I need learning. I don't have nothing position. I want to go train by train and enjoy.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's hot property, no question. KTM have got themselves a gem on their hands there with Raul Fernandez. It's going to be a fascinating fight for that Rookie of the Year prize. The Marquez boys reunited on a MotoGP grid. Alex Marquez, he's been pretty happy and content with the improvements to that RC213V as well. Of course, there's this fascinating subplot which will rage behind the scenes in MotoGP this year. There are only 4 riders, Marc Marquez being one of them. Who else have we got? Franco Morbidelli, Brad Binder and now Pecco Bagnaia. They are the only 4 guys that have got contracts already signed, sealed and delivered for 2023. So that's going to be a fascinating subplot. There's so much conjecture already, lots of rumours about Juan Mir, although the good news for Suzuki after the big steps they made with that GSX-RR, some comments attributed to the 2020 world champion over the last couple of days. His priority is to now stay with Suzuki. That will be music to the ears, of course, of new team boss Livio Suppo. We welcome him back, of course, as well. So that's all we've got time for here today at the Losail International Circuit. That's all for myself, Lewis and Simon. Free practice gets underway tomorrow at 11:50 a.m. local time here in Doha with Lewis and my colleague Neil Morrison. MotoGP FP1 kicks off at 1:40 p.m. local time. We look forward to your company over the next 8 months. Have a great 2022.